The safari may not be what it was, but for those taking part in the 60th edition, it was all about the here and now. The final 87-kilometer stage was the last chance for positions to be secured, and those treating it with the respect it deserved were left behind, as it became a sprint to the end.
30 fast rough, 100 left one.
The stage claimed more cars than any other, with a final tally of 11 cars sidelined, including Nzioka Waita and Laban Cliff, who abandoned what was left of their N10 in the middle of the road. Most notable were the Cabras team, who dropped like 9 pins. We're on board with Baldev Chaga and Raju Semi, who was struggling to keep the car in a straight line, having broken a rear alignment arm. But it all came to an abrupt end when they hit a washaway. Onkarai and Raju Chaga were the next to go, hitting a concrete stump with terminal consequences. The most dramatic exit went to Tajveer Rai and George Mwangi, who had broken their rear suspension, which caused a loss of control.
Oh my God.
Giancarlo De Vita and Silvia Vindevogel had been amongst those who had got through the stages the previous day, but it had been punishing on the car, and when the suspension went at the beginning of the day, they were also out.
We did 3 kilometers in the first stage. Shocks when we were out. In fact, the shocks suffered yesterday too much. So I decided to stop, because doing 50 kilometers like that.
With so many dropping by the wayside, those putting in consistent and solid performances gained places on the leaderboard that had earlier been out of reach. Having the drive of their lives were Jassi Chate and Gurdeep Panesar, driving the same Evo 9 that had won the safari on 2 previous occasions. This was their first safari, and with less than a year in the sport, coming 6th was a superb result. Following a problematic rally, Peter Horsey and Bella Erskine needed the rally to be longer to recover the time they'd lost, but over the final 2 stages made up 4 places to clinch 5th. The drive of the rally went to Mohamed Essa and Greg Stead from Zambia. Forced to recover from 22nd on stage 2, they had methodically clawed their way back to eventually finish 4th, gaining the much-needed ARC points they'd come to collect.
We've done 4 events now, and I would safely say that Safari has been the hardest one so far. Yeah, I've achieved what I needed to do. Finishing 4th, not a bad achievement, I guess.
Quinton Mitchell and Chris Davis had been lying 4th and couldn't believe their luck when they passed Baldev Chaga on the side of the road, which elevated them to 3rd. A remarkable comeback after a year off.
When we came round a corner and found Baldy with his front left side missing, it was the longest 20 kilometres of a stage I've ever done after that. We even had the anti-lag off for most of the stage just to keep the car cool, just to make sure we could get to the end.
With the gap between Duncan and Tundo reduced to only 20 seconds at the start of the final section, the sprint to the finish was a race of suspense. Neither gave an inch, taking every risk possible. After a stunning drive, Ian Duncan and Amos Lodge were quickest, but 5 seconds they gained just wasn't enough, and they had to accept 2nd.
Yeah, it was good. Maybe we should have just woken up a bit more yesterday, but it was great. Good ending.
And the safari is no longer an endurance event?
Well, it still has the roads for the endurance events, but now we treat it like sprint events is the problem.
Carl Tundu and Tim Jessup had been first on the road, and it had been a nervous wait before Duncan's time came through, and when it did, victory was theirs by 15 seconds.
The old boy seriously pushed us today. It shows he can still drive.
No, it's brilliant. Defended the Safari, which I don't think too many people have done, so chuffed. It's good. It's 4 wins now, yeah.
At the finish, the crowds waited in anticipation, but the colourful ceremony was muted following the news that 2 prominent national politicians had been killed in a helicopter accident. The celebrations may have been low-key, but nothing will change the record books from showing that Carl Tundo and Tim Jessup have now won the Safari 4 times, getting closer to Shekameta's record of 5 wins. The story of the rally was firmly etched on the final results, where Carl Tundo and Ian Duncan's close finish was well ahead of the rest of the pack. Quinton Mitchell also in his own race in 3rd. Only 16 cars finished, which made every result a victory, made even more special having done so on the event's 60th anniversary. At the halfway point of the season in the KCB Kenya National Rally Championship, Carl Tundo's win extends his lead to 50 points over Ian Duncan, with Asa Anwar in 3rd.
This is the team that is leading in the African Rally Championship.
Mohamed Essa also extends his lead in the African Rally Championship, and although he's the favourite to win, there are still 4 rounds remaining.
The roads were so typically Safari. There's such a good mixture. It really has got to be one of the toughest events in the world, as it's known.